Now an awful lot of running hurtles through space and time. Come with us on the trip of a lifetime. Aliens, you have been warned. Jack Alexander and Robin Foale are the new, but not really new, Doctor Who podcast hosts.
Hello and welcome to an awful lot of running, a Doctor Who podcast.
Woo-hoo.
As this episode goes out today, we are marking the 20-year anniversary of New Who, the revived series. 20 years since Christopher Eccleston took our hands and said the immortal word, run. And my goodness, we have been running ever since. We're celebrating today by reviewing the first episode of New Who, the first episode for many fans here, for many Rose babies. I'm Jack, one part of your hosting team, and joining me, as ever, the Rose to my Mike Doctor. Hey, what's going on out here then? Hey, it's Robin Foale.
Oh, it is a delight to be talking about such an iconic episode, not only because this is the first episode of New Who after how long a hiatus did fans have between?
Well, in terms of the classic series, it
Yeah.
was 16 years between. Obviously, there was the small hurrah of the TV movie in the middle there, which, spoilers, we'll be covering that very soon.
But
Yeah, so that was 1996. So this is 9 years after that when
And
Rose came out.
and 20 years ago, which when you get told the homework of watch Rose, you think, oh, brilliant, yeah, Rose, that's like what, 12, 15? It's like, no, 20 years. And it's just like you feel the age come on.
It's really funny, isn't it? Because, like, you know, you look at I think my sense of time was just warped since, you know, the C word 5 years ago. You know, I think that's affected my sense of time, because I was looking at something earlier and I was like, wait, what do you mean series 11 is 7 years ago? That's weird. That can't be a thing.
The
Also-
new series is older than Rose when she started.
Yeah.
Also, we've got Star with us. You know, that's also
yeah,
really
yeah.
wonderful.
Excuse me.
No, I think
No. I've got a thing.
Okay.
And also joining us, our editor-in-chief, our all-around superstar. It's our Graham Norton joining us in this episode. It's Star.
You say that, but I just pop up at every episode now. You can't get rid of me. I'm like I'm like a virus.
How do I eject it from the Zoom call? One sec.
I will find my way back.
She'll return like Rassilon through the time wall. Oh wait,
The end
why
of
is Rory here?
podcasts itself.
No, I think it's very sobering as well to see with this episode. I mean, it's 20 years ago. It's very sobering to see many of our friends of the podcast being like, oh, I don't have memories of watching it live because I was either an infant or too young to watch.
Oh no. Oh, I'd like to say that I'm still quite young, but when you hear stuff like that, you're just like, oh, here comes the Matt
mate,
Damon gif of just
We're
aging.
30s, buddy. Okay, I know we are covering tonight Rose from series 1, episode 1. Written obviously by Rusty Davis, directed by Keith Bug, Keith Bug. Anyway, less said about that, the better, really. Before we talk about the episode itself, because we've all rewatched it, even though I didn't feel the need to, because I feel like this is one episode of Doctor Who which sort of like burnt into my retina.
Same,
I was saying to Star before we started recording, I think this is probably the single most watched episode of Doctor Who for me personally, just because it's the first one every rewatch, isn't it? And I can remember watching it over and over and over when I first got the DVD back in the day. Like, I loved it so much. I got the volumes of DVDs, and ones that had like 3 episodes on. I couldn't wait for the box set. I couldn't wait for that flimsy TARDIS, cardboard one. I had to get, those little volumes. So yeah.
Braver man than me.
So memories of that night 20 years ago. Should we go to you first, Robin?
I mean, 20 years ago, wee baby as I was. No, I was very, very interested in this series. I'd heard a lot about Doctor Who. I think in our British culture, even before the rebirth of Doctor Who, we'd always seen those not even walking, those gliding, talking pepper shakers, that synonymous police box, that scarf, all those things that just ingrain themselves into like the media within newspaper articles or cartoons and the like. And so it was always around, and I always caught the classic like movies that came out with
the Cushing movies,
yeah. God, Peter Cushing, what a choice! Like phenomenal actor. And so I watched those, and I really enjoyed them just really really enjoyed them. And then when the series came along, it was my parents who I think were really quite excited by this. They were never big Doctor Who fans, but I think for a lot of people, it was so like this revival of 16 years later. You kind of had to be there, didn't you? It was TV gold. It was the standard at the time before the services of Netflix and the like. For those who don't know that, we had only 4 channels, maybe more if you were lucky. But it was TV gold standard to watch something brand new. And my God, going from I have like a basic understanding, very very basic, to oh this is good, this is so good, and just on a weekly basis having that with a family, because that's what me and my family used to love to do. Like every Friday or Saturday night we would find something to watch, have our it was Fajita Friday or something.
Considering Doctor Who went on a Saturday, that's interesting.
But I just mean for like whatever kind of night watch we did, whether that later be Robin Hood or Life from Mars, all those kinds of things. But my God, like having that on a weekly basis, even when we went away on holiday during the airing of, I'm getting a bit ahead myself here, during the airing of The Empty Child, and watching that with family all around the sofa. Some of the family, that was their first episode, which, my God, what an episode to watch. But yeah, it's, for me, I had a very, very loose understanding of Doctor Who. I didn't really understand that the Doctor was an alien. I just thought they were a time traveling human. And so that just opened up my mind and my world to something truly great.
Wait, we are talking about series 1 here. We're not talking about season 1. You weren't watching the Hartnell series where he was literally a time traveling human from the future until he retconned it, right? No.
I mean, like the Peter Cushing movies, I didn't understand that he was an alien. I just presumed he was a time traveling.
Oh no, he was in the Cushing movies.
See, so going from that to the TV show, I thought he was still that. So when he was like, oh yeah, I'm not only an alien, but I'm from a time war, I'm like, Oh, okay. And I watched like was it BBC Three that they had the stuff beforehand to try and like get people up to date and excited. And I watched a bit of those and I got some like bits and pieces, but to actually see it on the screen, wow. And just wow. Whew. What about yourself there, Jack?
Well, Doctor Who was, it's very much like you were saying there. It was no matter what, it was weirdly, I think, despite the fact that it hadn't been on TV for 9 years, it was still so sort of in the cultural zeitgeist of our country, which
Mm.
I think you had more people that were aware of it, sort of our age at the time, than maybe even now, despite the fact it's still airing on TV, which is strange to say. But so I was interested about Doctor Who. I'd watched Doctor Who Night way back in 1999 when that was on, and loved it and fallen in love with it, and it just sort of went away. And it was one of those things I was like, oh, that was cool, and then it went away. So when it was coming back, I was hyped. I was so excited, and I remember that Trip of the Lifetime trailer, which is one of the best trailers ever for anything, which just absolutely grasped, my interest and my hype. And for so many people, got them to watch it. I mean, I was going to sit down regardless. It was a Saturday night. I was 13, 2 days off my 14th birthday, which is why I'll always go down in history and say that Rose is the best early birthday present I ever got in my life, because it's sent me on this path now to doing this with you two, having lots of opportunities, meeting so many friends because of this show, which became my hyperfixation, my obsession, as it were. And I remember sitting down, because we always had, traditionally in my family, we had a Indian takeaway we did on a Saturday night, which was lovely. And I was a plain Jane at the time. I only had chicken tikka, bit of rice, poppadoms, naan bread. That was it. I didn't want sauce, didn't want that. I got it all ready. I sat down. 45 minutes later, I ate a cold chicken tikka because I was so grasped and so like it had my entire concentration, everything about it. And after 45 minutes, I was just like, oh wow, this is I feel like this is going to awaken something in me. And here we are now,
It just comes back to you, and you're just wearing like the Christopher Eccleston leather jacket and just full on like attire. Just like, yep, I'm a changed man.
Well, that's the thing as well, because I knew it was that history, and I knew it's the same character. They very clearly don't bring up like sort of like the previous Doctors until series 3 of the revival, and I think it's really good because we just get a taste of who the Doctor is here. And I mean, all the performances were amazing, but my goodness, we'll come to it in a second. But Christopher Eccleston really does hit the ground, forgive the pun, running.
Yay. It is just I want to go into it, but I also feel like we need to hear from Star first.
Yeah,
Like, come on, that's only fair.
That's the segue I was going to go with. Yes, Star. What are your memories of that night? Bearing in mind you're not quite as old fart as me and Robin.
I was 9. Perfect age to watch the Ninth Doctor. And I'm going to be as blunt as hell. I thought it was shite.
Oh.
But that wasn't because it is shite. That's just because my mother liked it.
Ah, I see.
And if my mum liked it, it was awful, it was cringy, it was not worth it. And then like a couple of episodes by Dalek, I was like, I have to admit defeat. I feel this might have some sort of effect on me too.
Interesting.
And then I became into Super Who again.
Oh, well, that's years to come, Super Who, isn't it? But it is funny because I think Supernatural actually started
in 2005, yeah.
Yeah.
So Super Who is
really?
there, and then 5 years later, it's locked.
Wow, it's locked in. Yeah. Interesting. Okay, very cool. Well, I'm guessing your opinion on Rose changed over time.
A little bit. Like, I do think it is a good episode, but it's not one I would rate highly. But that's because once I finally admitted, yeah, I really like this, the effects had gone up, and I'm kind of looking at this like, there's bits that could be better. But it is like, for a first episode of an old show that's coming back, it's charming.
And can I just say, what I love about it is their mission statement to start the show anew. It's not a cold open. It's no scene before. It's just straight in. Here's your Doctor Who titles. This is what you've been waiting for. And I mean, to anyone that hadn't seen those titles before, I mean, I know every era has different ones, and sometimes within eras, Doctors have different titles as well. But it's still the best opening sequence to any TV show ever, isn't it? It's the best theme song. It every time I watch an episode, whether it be new or old, I do the dum-de-dums. I have to.
Yes.
It's the dum-de-dums, and it gets you hyped for the episode. So to have that, and Murray Gold's arrangement of the original Julia Derbyshire score and everything, and that tunnel, and I'm not going to be honest, it's probably my least favorite logo, but still, it's nostalgia. It's fine. It's all right. It's still good. It's still good.
It's got a special place in my heart, even though over the years I've kind of chipped away and been like, it's not as good as I remember.
I'm not
but it's
a
got
big
sort
fan
place.
of the vomit coloured surfboard logo, as it were.
I liked it better when they got to Tennant's era and they made it more the Series 4 colouring.
Yeah, that was nice. I like that, Personally, like I look at box sets now and I see they have like the Pertwee or the McGann movie text, and I much prefer that, or even like the Blu-rays which have like the Whittaker logo, which is mwah, mwah, mwah. Chef's kiss. Okay, so the episode obviously starts with us. That beautiful shot, which we see recreated in other eras as well, of being over Earth and then zooming into what was modern day London, now is 20 years ago, and into Rose Tyler's bedroom, as she goes about a typical day as a 19-year-old in London. It's so funny because I watched it earlier and I was like, I feel like I know this flat. I feel like I could draw a diagram of this flat just from memory. Like I know it so well. Like there's Jackie's room, there's Rose's room, there's the old divider between, you don't get that anymore so much now with kitchens where you have the little window, which which is basically just there to make it seem like it's a bigger flat than it is. It's separating the two spaces. But yeah, like all that, going into London, for some location shooting, and then obviously going back into Cardiff as I walk past what is her place of work, Hendrickson's or Hendricks, whatever it is, a million times because it's on a very prominent Cardiff street, and it's literally used in so many episodes of Doctor Who, even in the new era as we go through. And then obviously we meet her, we see her with her boyfriend Mickey as well, who's in the episode as well. Moving on from there, we see then, Rose being given the lottery money and having to go into the inner depths of the shop, which is when we get our first sort of look at what Doctor Who is going to properly be in this new era. I mean, I say that, but we've already seen how sort of soap opera-y or how domestic it's going to be by seeing, Rose's life as it is right now, and then being hit by, oh, by the way, there's scary monsters made out of plastic.
It's what's really genius about this episode? It doesn't alienate audiences from the start. It could have very easily have started off with the Doctor inside the TARDIS, the Doctor playing around with the console,
the Doctor
maybe even
narrating the backstory of the previous show, saying like, the Master was my enemy, something I've gathered from him. It was in Daleks, a Time Lord, and he has so many lives. It's like, whoa! Sorry, we're not talking about the TV here.
No, but it's like we could have started with that. We could have had a sparking console for them, like making an emergency landing, some sort of big, epic, sort of action-packed beginning. But no, it focuses on the mundane. It focuses on London, on just this average girl living her average life, like seeing her boyfriend, going to work. And when that rug is pulled from underneath them and they are taken away from their normal and thrown into this madness, which is following the doctor. That's where the genius of this episode comes in. That's where the little breadcrumbs of, okay, something is clearly not right. And the more you watch it, the more you sort of pick up things. And it's been really fascinating because like you, Jack, I think I've watched this episode so many times. Like, even me and my awful memory, this episode's really ingrained in my head just with how just perfectly executed it was as like first episodes go.
And there's so many iconic scenes in it, and I feel like it really does, the
Am I
moment
here?
the doctor comes in, grabs Rose's hand and goes,
Run.
it's not just her he's grabbing, it's all of us. We all go on this journey with him at this point. Then we all go, oh, this is the show we're going to love. And I mean, iconic scenes, that scene down there where Rose is being first faced by the Autons, and then being grabbed by his hand, and the scene lift going up there as well. He has that great line where she's like, well, Wilson's not going to like it. And he's like, who's Wilson? It's like, oh, this is a caretaker. Wilson's dead. Like, you just feel that, because we've seen the warmth from there, but then we see the cold clinicalness of him as well come out there. And even before that, we had the bit of Rose being like, well, who's all that down there? Students?
Yeah.
He's like, what? What do you mean, students? And it's a great line, isn't it? Where she's like, well, to get all those people there, willing to muck about, it must be students. He's like, no, not students. And of course, we get to probably my favorite line of the entire episode. What's your name, by the way? Rose Tyler. Rose Tyler. Nice to meet Rose Tyler. Run for your life.
At that point, to any sane person seeing that and a person holding up a bomb, you think, oh my God, he's a terrorist, you just want to get the hell away from them. But
hey, he's not Luffy.
No, that's true. Oh my God.
Cinematic parallels.
If I may for a moment, and I will mention quickly that while this podcast has been recorded, I've been doing the cover for it because I hadn't done it yet. So live reveal.
Oh, that's gorgeous.
That is beautiful, Star.
That's beautiful. You've all seen it before us, technically, in a way. So, well done, all of you.
Yeah, even
You
managed
lucky
to
lot.
sneak in the standard PNG TARDIS.
Huzzah!
Hey.
Hey, if it worked for the Whittaker era as well, it works for us here.
It is a staple of modern Who.
It is indeed, yeah. Oh, beautiful. Yeah, I think Billie Piper, I think older fans than us, even if they exist, apparently, there was some trepidation about her being cast as the companion. And there was some trepidation even about Eccleston, even though he was a renowned actor at this point with a very, diverse body of work. There was some trepidation. I think by the end of that scene, any naysayers were just like, okay, I'm gonna sit back, unless you're a 9-year-old, obviously.
What were your initial thoughts of that classic opening, Star? Like the taking of the hand, the saying of run. Did that do anything for tiny sort of Gabby Star? No. Oh.
I'm sorry, but like I said, I like the episode, but it will take 6 episodes for me to get to the point where I'm like, yeah, actually, this show's quite good.
That's fine.
That's
hey,
yeah.
It's fine. We there's enough positivity and love in this for not to say that you don't love it, Star, as well, because I know you love everything.
My love for it is not chronological. There you go.
Yeah. So, I understand it's not from nostalgia. Your love stems from it. It's subsequent viewings. Which is hey, you'll get that. Obviously the Dr. Bill blows up the shop. We get Oh, we get Jackie Tyler just being an icon.
Yes.
You blow
There
up
is-
shops, now blow me.
She would as well,
Oh,
wouldn't she? You know, 'cause she does. She tries to take a pass at the doctor later when he comes to the flat. You know, I love that bit as well, where she's like, you know, where Rose is like, oh, he's from the inquiry. Just give us a minute to talk, and she's like, she should get compensation. She hears the doctor goes, oh, we're talking millions. He just goes along with it, and then obviously there's a strange man in my flat, and I'm wearing my dressing gown. Yes, there is. You think could happen?
No.
Yeah. Oh, amazing. And I love it as well because we're seeing it all through Rose's perspective, her POV, but then we also see the life around her. Like, we see Jackie there talking about it. Mickey comes and he's like, oh, go down the pub. And she's like, is there a match on? He's like, oh, despite the fact she's just survived what happened, literally within seconds. Mickey grows as a character, but it's not a very good first look at him, is it?
no,
Yeah.
it's really not.
I will say though, like the family aspect is something I think the first like 4 seasons of New Who do really well, and I think it
Oh, yeah.
makes it makes a very unique staple on it.
Mhm.
And shows, yeah, this is a different era, different show, but we're still the same show by doing all the fun other stuff as well.
Oh yeah,
It
exactly.
makes its mark.
Exactly.
It
Yeah.
does. And what a family. Like, as Jack was saying, like you could like paint that flat sort of layout. It's so ingrained in your head. But as families go, not only do like they come back in the because guess what? It's a lot cheaper to do those modern day episodes than it is past and future episodes. But no, but
I
it's
think it's
also
also though, to be fair with that as well. Like, I know that first block of shooting, which it's a very, very notorious block of shooting, what have you. But that first block of shooting, which is all modern day Earth, and series one is all like Earth-based stories apart from Space Station. I think that's done in a very deliberate way to sort of keep the audiences so they're not suspending their disbelief too much. They're getting the audience, they're getting the
completely.
call, what have you. I mean, obviously there's Daleks going around, but and weird ceilings made of flesh and different things in this series, and farting aliens through Downing Street. But hey, I mean,
Like I joke about them using modern day a lot, but actually them reusing locations I think is really great. Like even reusing the space station is brilliant because you see that change in its location, you see what it becomes, you see what becomes of the modern Earth. And I think that's a brilliant choice as first seasons go. You don't want to alienate brand new audiences straight away with concepts of alien planets and the like. Leaving that for season two and the like was such a smart decision because it continued to bring you in, grab you by the hand, make you want to run and like join in with these adventures, which was just fantastic. Even
the
with that looming production problems that they had at the start.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, but I think as well, it really adds into the the kitchen sink drama aspect, or the soap that
Mm.
this is really going for. This is domesticity at its finest in Doctor Who,
I
and
will
it's very
say
funny. Gone.
it is kind of funny if you watch it from the family's point of view because you go from Rose and then the next episode you have to watch for them is Mickey is now a murderer.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, God,
It's
yeah.
funny, isn't it? And technically, what you should do is you should watch Rose, and then wait an entire year before you watch Aliens of London.
Well, funny enough, when I first introduced my fiance to New Who, I didn't consider that. I didn't sit down, watch Rose a bit. Oh, did you enjoy that? Great. We'll continue watching this in a year's time, you know.
It's like Infinity War to Endgame. Like, people joke
Oh
about
my
like,
God.
watching it with their kids, like, oh wow, Infinity War was great. Oh, Dad, can we watch Endgame now? No, you will wait a year. let's head back to the episode itself.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Obviously, we have the bit where, with the cat flap, Rose looks through, sees the doctor. Like, they speak about having a cat at some point, and obviously the arm then, which Mickey threw away, has found its way back into Rose's flat, and we get the whole bit of, the Ninth Doctor. It's very funny because we're led to believe he's just freshly regenerated, I believe, but the way it goes, in terms of that C word canon, it's a lot of stuff has probably happened previously, but they solve that in different things. But I'll talk to you about another time. We don't need that for a canon bust at this second. It's boring now anyway. We get the bit with the Auton arm. What I will say is, I love the bit, and Christopher Eccleston's really given it. With the Auton on him. When he gets to Billie Piper, she sort of just stood there in the corner, just going like, "Ooh." It's not quite the same.
She's a great actress, but yeah, that could have done with a second take.
But what I love then is the following of that is them walking through the Palace Estate, then, which is a real estate in Cardiff, which Doctor Who fans, I don't recommend you go to. Do not go there. It's a bit rough. It is, yeah. So just be careful around there, right? Star, if you're coming to Wales anytime soon, don't go to the Palace Estate. If you're looking at shooting locations, go somewhere else. Okay.
I'll do what I like.
Okay.
I'm Scottish. I'll beat him up.
But then again, I think we get another standout moment from not just the episode, the series itself, where the Doctor talks about. He has that brilliant monologue about. Well, Rose says, like, "Who are you?" He's like, "Who am I?" And it's you can feel the Earth spinning at however many miles per second, and then all around, and then just I can feel it. And he's just like, "That's where I am." And
it's more specifically the bit where he's like, "It's just you and me," and then he lets go of her hand, and then says, "That's who I am."
Because I feel like it's almost as if Rose herself and we as the audience feel that with him in that moment, and that dropping of the hands there does sever that connection. Now we get that taste again of his life, of who the Doctor is as a character, and then and then he walks up, and for the first time in the new series, we hear that beautiful sound.
Oh,
of the
also,
TARDIS.
Not to step away from the TARDIS for a second, but we have to also talk about the really long, like, walking shot.
Yeah, it's a great shot.
Because it's impressive that you're probably holding the camera that long for that one shot, and it still holds you.
Really does. People will, I think, rag on that shooting block, for certain things, which absolutely they should, but that's a really wonderful inclusion in the episode. It obviously then starts Rose down her Charlie from Always Sunny in Philadelphia rabbit hole by holding up pictures of the Doctor on the board where it says, like, "Who is Pepe Silva?" Which then leads her to meet Clive, from an online chat room, which
and 2005 was a risky business.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, if anyone's still using, using chat rooms now, it's still a risky business.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose the answer now is Discord and Twitter and things like that, isn't it? Whereas it's funny, isn't it? Because we make friends in those communities now. I mean, we met Star. We only met you over the internet, for example.
That's true.
And it's like we've so many friends now like that. It's funny to sort of see the trepidation in the Mickey's like, he's dropping her off, he's sitting in the car, and then Rose knocks on the door, and it's Clive's son that answers, and he's like, "Dad, it's one of your weirdos." It was like, oh yeah, that would be, if that's two Doctor Who fans meeting up in real life, that would be what happens. Like, yeah, fair enough.
See, now we've got a track of where do we go with this next, because there's two very key parts. There's the photoshops and there's the bin.
I rewatching this episode. I completely forgot about how crap that Photoshop looked.
I don't know. I don't mind the Photoshop as much. Obviously, the bin is the true egregious thing here. But the other
Oh.
side, there's real life connotations which make me very happy for that part now, which I don't want to go into, you know?
No, but the thing is, like, as much as we like to wag on special effects and the like when it comes to Doctor Who, let's face it, Doctor Who, it doesn't always have the biggest budget. It does what it can. It's the first episode in a season, so it's not going to look perfect. But then, in my defense, I like to say, well, if you think the special effects are bad, the person who's being affected by them is much worse, so it's okay to bin them.
Yes, absolutely, yeah. And the burp alongside it is
Yeah.
sort of silly Doctor Who, isn't it? Which I love that sort of stuff now. You know, I think in the episode there's some, certainly when we get to the restaurant, I think there's some questionable like lighting choices made. But I think the lighting and everything, how it's shot in sort of Clive's shed, really adds to this ominous nature of the Doctor. And, you know, he talks about how, you know, he's Death's companion and or
What
Death
a
is his only
great-
companions. Oh, beautiful stuff again.
It's a great, great idea for a scene as well, because has there ever been a previous Doctor Who, like a classic Who episode that's done that? Where there's been someone who's kind of followed and tracked the Doctor other than Unit.
Anyway, so
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
let's talk about how Rose could not notice the obviously fake Mickey.
Yeah.
Pizza.
I'm sorry, but if Cass started talking like that, one, I would smack him, and then two, I'd do a runner.
Yeah. I love and it's such a weird, like, sort of sheen they put over Mickey as well.
Yeah.
Really is sort of strange. It's like, really? How did you not notice this? But I have to admit, I really do like that bit in the restaurants where it's fake Mickey talking to her. He's like, come on, babe. Like, you know, he's asking about the Doctor and all that stuff. And we get the Doctor coming in sort of several times before they realize it's him, be like, you're champagne. You know, they're like building and building and building.
And just pop.
Yeah.
I for the CGI is still a bit iffy on that, but I do love the shot of it just going through into his head and little cartoon sound effects. Spoing.
Yeah.
I love that within that bit where it's all freaking out. It would be so stereotypical of them to have a woman screaming in the restaurant at that point.
But no, they get the man.
Yeah, they get the man.
I love it. It's great. It's like, yeah.
Oh.
Obviously leading us on to what is the reveal of the TARDIS, you know, when the Doctor so sort of nonchalantly says, oh, let's go in here, and Rose is losing her mind and sort of runs around, goes in, has to run back around, goes back in, and we get our proper first look at that TARDIS.
Yeah, the shot, the music, the like slight echo of Doomsday.
I think what in the first series and sort of the first 4 series, Murray Gold has a tendency to sort of, I want to say that maybe overplay the music in the mix, or it's a bit
And the
too
first 4
bombastic.
series? Sorry, do I need to remind you of the existence of I Am the Doctor?
Yeah. Whereas that, I feel like that's overplayed as opposed to dialed up in the mix and sort of part of the bombasticity. Oh, that's a nice word.
Oh, that's a nice one.
We need to throw that into a Red Twilight script stuff. Let's throw that into bombasticity.
Not my department. Go see Cat.
Yeah, sure. But I love how sort of, you know, we get like the hums of the TARDIS. We get the music. We do get the music playing through. We also, it's that sort of, we're given that moment of pause in a way to take in our surroundings. This is our look at the TARDIS, which is such an important part of the series. The Doctor's home. And, you know, he even says, you know, like, you're safe behind these walls. Not even the hordes of Genghis Khan get past here. We're like, we believe it, don't we?
Sorry, I'm going to cut this bit out, but Robin just sent the message of the word to the chat, and I read it as bombast titty.
I mean, keep it in because you know.
Okay,
Sure.
let's say
Why
Great.
not? Yeah.
Everyone enjoy your bombast titty.
We also do see a bit more of like the Doctor's alien nature as well in it as well, don't we? How, you know, how he's talking about how he's trying to track down the nesting consciousness, and he's oh, I saved you, and Rose is like, what about Mickey? They killed him. He's like, oh, well, I didn't think of that. And
But don't worry, he's a secondary character. It's not important.
Yeah, again, he's like, oh, he's a red shirt. It's all right, And he's like, oh, I didn't even think of that. And she's like, he could be dead. Oh, he's melting over your console. And he's like, no. Again,
my console.
Yeah. Again, we land, on the other side of the embankment from the London Eye, and they're gonna get yet another iconic scene. The line that Rose being like, well, hold on, if you're an alien, how come you sound like from the north? Go on, give it to a star.
I'm Scottish. I'm not Northern.
I know you're not, but
you need to get driven for this.
You're not.
This is Jed T.E. Rhodes' department.
Fine. Go on, Robin. Give us your best apple.
Lots of planets have a north.
You know what? Let's all do it. We'll all do it. We'll give it a go.
Okay.
Lots of planets have a north.
Okay. Lots of planets have a north. Just my Briggleston coming out.
Vote for your favorite in the comments now.
Is it not the Ninth Doctor at all, aka Robin? Is it Star, the Scottish Doctor, or is it Briggleston? Tell us now in the comments. Yeah,
there is no prize.
What I very quickly want to go back to is how brilliant it is. Not only that introduction to the TARDIS properly, with the entrance, with Rose being us, the audience, who would go outside the TARDIS, would check all around it, would be that wide-eyed, and would say the classic thing of, is bigger on the inside than the outside. That's beautiful. But what's also great about the whole episode is, even for fans who know about Doctor Who, like, you see the box, and you always see it in new places, but you never see it actually disappear, which them holding on to that into the very end. In fact, we don't even see it sort of disappear into then. I think that is so key to that build up to that Rose's point of view, and to that magic that makes this feel like a real, like, yes, we've got brand new season 1 with Shooty Gatwa, which is wonderful, but in terms of like New Who, that original series 1, like, this feels like a real, like, wow, this is like an introduction to Doctor Who and how the TARDIS functions and the like.
Yeah, totally. And again, another iconic bit of trying to work out the Doctor, trying to work out there's this bit, the transmitter, the nesting they're using, which, by the way, nesting being the nesting consciousness being the Autons, a villain from the classic series, but sort of just peppered in here. If you didn't know the classic series, you'd think it was just for this. You really would, which I think is the perfect way of doing the, sort of having your cake and eating it, of being like, well, here you go, classic fans, this is something you recognize, some iconography, but new fans, you're also not getting bogged down with, the lore. You don't need to know the ins and outs of Spearhead from Space and Terror of the Autons, not yet,
Oh, and I've said this before, how as first episodes go, they did the right choice in having a choice of villain that doesn't take a lot of the scenery. They don't chew it as much. It leaves room for the actual actors to come out, to perform, to show off their characters, and to give us exactly what they are while giving them a threat to deal with. And I think that's a perfect kind of episode 1
I'm going to be honest, I thought the nest scene was lazy. Just sits there.
Yeah,
a big gelatinous blob.
It is. I'm going to be honest. It just looks like what I imagine Twitter is.
Hey! Don't be mean to the nesting consciousness.
Hey, yeah. Oh. But then we get the whole bit then of, again, the iconic. I think it's our first utterance of the Ninth Doctor, looking at the London, looking back and going, fantastic.
And then the run across the bridge.
Yeah, the London Bridge.
I need to talk about it, because like when I went to London for the panel last year, one of the things I did was run across Westminster Bridge, even though it was heaving full of people.
Playing it? Were you
I
playing
was. I was playing Westminster Bridge. There was
Yeah.
no other way I could do that. So I did the run. I'm pretty sure a lot of people thought I was a nutter because I was in full Stardock costume. I was committing to the bit. I have never felt joy like that since the rush. I mean, yes, I did feel joy on the panel, but like the specific joy of recreating one of your one of the best moments in Doctor Who of just
Yeah.
I can't
It's
wait till I
iconic,
get to
isn't it?
Cardiff and then I get to recreate all the scenes there.
Oh
Now my
yeah.
tism. Oh, okay, take it away.
Yeah,
Take it away.
I
Go
think
back.
Eccleston also gives some brilliant stuff in terms of performance wise in that bit where he's having to, well, number one, act to a green screen, which is, and he gets all these great lines. We get these little snippets about, I fought in the war, and different things. We understand a bit more about the nesting and what have you. And they find his box, and he's not letting on as much as we, because he can understand the nesting, but that no one else can. Like, he's having this conversation with it. In my head,
It's
he's
just
1
going.
million. Yeah, in my head, 1,000,000% going. Wait a second, you're the Doctor. Like, it's not just like, they realize there's tech in the TARDIS that means I'm not from this world. And they're going, no, motherfucker. You're that guy, So
It's
yeah,
that Scooby-Doo moment where they like peeled off the face and it's like, oh, the Doctor! It was you all along!
it is kind of funny. It must be funny for like what these returning villains, where they see the Doctor again as a new face that's not in their records, and they have to go back through and they're like, wait, no, hang on, no, he's not the small angry Scottish one. No, he's not. He's not the tall Scottish angry one. No, he's no, it's not the girl. No, oh, there we go. That's this one. That's it must be tough for them. I think of stuff like Earthshock, where the Cybermen basically do a clip show of the first 4 Doctors, and then go, oh wait, there he is. Well, no, not even the. Did they do the first 4 Doctors? No,
I think it was the first 4 of them, but they're like, yeah, he's the face changer. We don't have this one yet.
Yeah, like
It's him, but we don't have this one.
We don't have this Pokemon card yet. We have to
Grab
this
our
one.
cyber balls.
Oh my.
What I love about it as well, though, is that Rose saves the day with this episode. Our audience surrogate, it's the first episode of Doctor Who, but Rose is the one that actually, she has the line about, it's like, no qualifications, no A levels, but got a bronze in gymnastics or something, and then swings in, knocks him, and the anti-plastic falls in, and well, hey, that's the end of the nesting consciousness. Or is it? I've done that Cannon Buster before. We know it overtakes Boris Johnson.
It is great that they let Rose have the win of this. Not only does that fully cement the fact that a companion is needed for the Doctor, and I think what New Who does great is really pushing more stories with the companions, as well as more like why it's so important to have them, that kind of human side to, let's face it, like Eccleston he's very quite harsh in places in this first episode, and even though he only gets like the one series, you really see a character growth throughout the whole of it, which is just incredible. And so much of that is shown off in that first episode, which makes it so good.
Oh yeah, totally. It's Eccleston in every performance. I think he came into it with his Doctor fully formed, and obviously his Doctor changes over the series. Like, he becomes less fierce and less, there's far less mentions of these stupid apes,
Do you know what it does? It echoes the first Doctor perfectly.
Yes.
Absolutely, yes. Yeah, in the same, 1,000,000%, yeah. The same way Ian and Barbara soften and make the first Doctor the character we know as the Doctor today, Rose reforms him as well.
Where
totally.
is Eccleston bashing someone's head in with a rock?
I mean, he does blow up a Dalek with a Blue Peter badge at one point, but that's that's something else entirely. Clip that now, Star. Take that. Um, and obviously, the episode ends with the Doctor being like, "Oh, well, look, you know, travels in space. This thing, they're all coming in." And Rose being sort of wanting to go, but hesitancy there that she's got Mickey obviously sort of whimpering like a baby at her, holding onto her leg, and worrying about her mum, obviously, who's, by the way, Jackie's had an entire interaction with the Autons there, and poor Clive
Yeah.
very unfairly gets killed off.
I was gonna say we need to talk about that whole thing because that scene, I think, and on the terms of like the Autons attacking the street, is great, and we have to talk about the certain incidents that happened during that.
Oh,
Wasn't there like a fire thing? There was an actual fire.
I think there might have been. No, there's something about a flaming couch almost hitting
That's
through an
the one.
extra or something. Yeah, which is
Yeah.
which is one of the big issues in that block of filming. Yeah, but no, it's funny as well because where Jackie ends up is just outside the St David's shopping centre, just towards the side there, and I walk past that all the time, and I think, oh, this is where Jackie almost, by those Autons,
yeah.
It's a great send up to, because again, it's referencing Spearhead from space in a really cool way, just adding a level to it, and it's really, really lovely, and obviously then, the Doctor, the Rose is like, no, I can't go with you, and he disappears. Maybe goes off and has a whole span of adventures, probably a box set or two from Big Finish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then reappears. Oh, by the way, it also travels in time. And we get that iconic shot of Rose running towards the TARDIS. The theme starts playing. And boom, we get our look at the series to go forward. My goodness. What an episode to start people on. I mean, I know people always sort of there's so much debate often. Hell, we've even had the debate ourselves on Battles and Fandom, where we've asked, what's the perfect episode what's the perfect first episode to show people, to get them into Doctor Who. I do think it's Rose, personally. I don't think anyone could see this and not go, yeah, let's see what happens next. Even with the slightly dated CGI and different things like that, I think it's, it's something which current Doctor Who writers, showrunners could look back at and say, oh, wait, what was so successful here? And build upon that rather than, yeah.
Well, I think they actually do look back at classic episodes of Doctor Who when they do this, because we've also, like, recently, the episode hasn't come out yet, but we have discussed Robot, with that being Tom Baker's first episode, and you can see those moments from that episode. You can see moments from other first classic Who episodes, and they kind of
he
take
tries to do a card
ingredients.
trick like the Fourth Doctor in Robot. He tries to do a card trick in Rose's flat. Yeah,
It's those little nice things where, if you know it as being like a classic Who fan, or if you've seen those, then it's like, oh, cool. I get those little nods and things. But not only was kind of those classic episodes like a kind of a blueprint on how to do them. We kind of will. You'll eventually hear us discuss that during Robot. But what's great about this episode? This feels like another fresh blueprint for how to do first episodes, especially for new Doctors down the line in New Who, which is always wonderful. I always look forward to a Doctor's first episode of how they get shown off, how they get introduced to a companion, and for them to tackle so much in a first episode as well. This isn't like season one or Shooties where it's like, oh, you could probably have watched all of the previous New Who stuff before. No. This was like a 16-year gap. They had a lot to sort of go into.
And also,
they
stuff
do it
wasn't
just
quite
as
as readily available. Like, we didn't have streaming
No.
services then. Unless you were going to WH Smith's and buying all the VHSs, then, you weren't really watching Doctor Who,
It did a great job, and even though it clearly had a lot of stuff for old fans, it also brought up this mention of a war, the Time War, which would then be explored later down, and that was just perfect for old and new fans to come into this and be like, "Oh, what's this? What's this little mention?" And
Mm.
what? Oh, yeah, just
Well, I
great.
tell you what, we've rated this before on the podcast before, Robin, many moons ago when we did our season 1 retrospective. And do you know what I gave Rose then? It's a rating I stand by.
What's that?
A very high 7 out of 10. Because
Hmm.
it's very good. But there, when you compare it to other episodes in series 1 and subsequent series as well, it's not like the best. It's not the peak, but it is such a strong starting episode. One of the strongest first episodes of any Doctor Who series ever. It's enough to get you in there. So yeah, 7 out of 10. I'm not changing that rating ever, probably.
No, and I'm trying to remember what weighting I gave it as well. I think I
You
want to
also
say
gave it a 7. You also
I
gave it a 7 out of 10.
Oh,
I listen back.
thank you, Jack.
I did the
Thank you, Jack.
work.
that's
Oh, all
gonna be
right.
that's
Okay.
gonna be funny.
Mm.
I was gonna
Yeah.
give it 8 out of 10.
Well, I tell you what, an
Oh.
8 out of 10. Do you know what? Because we're here in merriment, we're here to celebrate this baby turning 20. I'm going to match rate out of 10 star.
Oh. Do you know what?
I think it deserves it. It's the first episode of an old show coming back, and it seals a lot of the deals. It didn't seal the deal with me, but that's because I had to face my mother. But
Yeah, that's fine.
we got to a Dalek and I was sold. So that was that problem solved. But for many, it seals the deal. It starts a whole new journey for many people. I
None
think
of us
that
would be,
deserves an 8.
yeah, none of us would be sat here right now doing this piece of shit podcast without
Oh
No.
no.
Calling you out is not a piece of shit podcast. This
No.
podcast is some of the greatest fun I've done, and I really like it when I get to sneak in on here
Oh.
because these are usually the
Oh.
best nights of my life.
Well,
Oh, well, we love it. We love it too. And I tell you what, it's without Rose, we would not have so many friends in this community now. I would just not have so many friends, full stop. I owe so much to this episode. I think 8 out of 10 is very fair considering that.
you know what? Star and Jack, I propose that we hold our glasses high, as I will also match that 8 out of 10, a quality first episode that has brought us all together as fans and friends alike. Cheers.
Oh, huzzah. I feel like Scrooge on Christmas morning, you know? Only it was the ghosts of William Hartnell, John Pertwee, and Patrick Troughton that came to visit me tonight.
Yeah.
In the wrong order, apparently. Let's take this opportunity to head over to what our listeners thought. It's time for our space-time telegraph. So we asked that on the social. We said, help us celebrate 20 years of New Who. On our next episode, we're turning the clock back to the 26th of March 2005 and going on a trip of a lifetime as we cover Series 1, Episode 1, Rose. What are your memories of the day? What are your thoughts on the episode? 2 separate questions I asked there. 2 separate questions. I didn't ask one question. I asked 2 questions. Bearing in mind, I understood that people might not have watched it on the day. So I asked the second question so people could still write in. Let's see what we got. First one is from friend of the show, Samuel Davis. There was the London Eye and the dummies had guns. And, do you know what? I'm going to do this in Briggleston. Oh, yeah, there was the London Eye and the dummies had guns in their hands. That went like, and he blew up the London building, and the big monster, anti-plastic, is good against the nesting consciousness. That's how you beat it. Doctor Who, really cool guy. Thanks, Sam.
Thanks, Sam.
Next one comes from another friend of the show, Philip Hawkins at Culture Filter. I was in my first year at uni. I didn't have a TV in our student house, and iPlayer didn't exist yet. How did I watch it? Maybe I shouldn't say more. It's funny actually because I do remember this. The first episode did leak, so people had ways of watching it. Next one comes from Chef at Jeff Moo 62074. This starts the trend off. This does here. I was 24 days old, so I don't remember much. Thanks very much for that.
Thanks.
Mig at thirsty_YouTube said it was all right, but no prehistoric park. Thanks. Sleepy Bird at _epic_grok. I remember being in the womb, very comfortable. Thank you.
You know what? These are actually great.
Yeah, people, I do.
People are just having fun. Yeah, grumpy old muttons.
Another friend of the show now, the Vacuum of Comments, Ben himself at Vacuum of Comments, rose the antithesis of the TV movie by keeping the box, the character, and the world of Doctor Who just out of reach in the corner of your eye for so much of the runtime. Enigma wins over nostalgia every time. Yeah. Very well put, Ben. Very well put. Let's head on over to Blue Sky now. Let's close that hellscape. Next one comes from Marquis at resurrected Marquis. I hate the Blue Sky at, but still, it's a better place. Marcus says, I didn't watch it when it first aired and did not know what Doctor Who was in 2005, but I remember getting the DVD a year later on my birthday and binging the whole series in one go. As for the episode, it's a really fast-paced introduction that knows when to always keep you on your toes, and really puts in a lot of legwork to sell the Doctor to a new audience, all in a few minutes with his turn of the earth speech. Share out the birthing trash can, though. It's all right. It's okay. We have a piece. In hindsight, really bold move from RTD to take a beloved children's TV hero and turn him into a war veteran with a buzz cut and a leather jacket. And it worked. Very well put. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to head on over to the An Awful Lot Running email now. We have had 3 lovely emails. First one comes from Alex Gilston. Hey, first of all, the fact that it was 20 years ago makes me feel a bit sick. You and me both reading some of these comments tonight, Alex, not going to lie. But the date is so important to me as it reminds me of my mum who recently passed. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. It's a fairly simple story, but I'll always remember it was the day. Remember it after it aired, the day after it aired. We had been a family gathered the night before. I didn't know what Doctor Who was at this point. I was 7 years old, but in the morning I was watching telly with my mum, and she said, "Oh, this old TV show has just come back. I recorded it last night. Shall we watch it?" And 45 minutes later, I was frankly besotted. I felt so hard for the show, and it very quickly became more than 45 minutes, 13 times a year for me. Not only did it become my entire personality, but it also helped me get through hard times growing up. I can't help but wonder where I'd be if my mum hadn't suggested it today and I hadn't watched it. So I'll thank her every day for introducing me and something that makes me feel closer to her despite her being beyond my reach. Just thought I'd send this over because I feel like it's perfect summation of what Doctor Who is and can be for people. Thanks, Alex. At presenter Alex on X. So thank you so much, Alex, for that. Thank you for sharing that. And I absolutely am raising a glass to your mum as well right now. Oh, next one comes from another friend of the show. A slightly smaller essay than usual, but we wait for it every time. We are so excited for it every time. We have our Mad Beach email.
Hey.
Before you start, I want to make the comment that we did put a cap on him.
We did. We did put a cap on his ass. Yeah, we did. Yeah, so we capped him down to 500 words. Good evening, Jack, Robin, and Star. What a momentous occasion. 20 years of my favourite TV show returned to screens. Although for 6-year-old Thomas, this was something very new and exciting. Having been given a crash course on classic Who with the Sun DVDs and my dad's fuzzy memory of Baker and Davison, a burnt DVD of the TV broadcast of the Magan TV movie, I somewhat felt ready for this new world. I remember watching the first episode and feeling that everything was so familiar. The world around me was full of adventure, danger, excitement. It felt great to watch something at 6 years old and feel understood as a person. The shop window dummies were always an irrational fear of mine, so seeing them finally come to life and prove people right was very satisfying. I gotta say, that's absolutely something I had. I remember seeing clips of Spearhead from space and being terrified as a child of the shop window dummies because of that. So we share that, Thomas. Doctor Who returned to screens, and having the Doctor grab Rose and by extension the audience by the hand and whisk us into a world of understanding and genuine respect was really affirming. The aftermath of my autism diagnosis had others around me treating me like an alien or an outcast, someone that couldn't and wouldn't fit in. Having a show like Doctor Who on screen represented a sanctuary. Though through Rose and the Doctor, my need to fit in with so-called normal people faded. Doctor Who returning opened the doors for me to explore creative writing. Learning about the internet worked. Copy and pasting images of Christopher Eccleston and the TARDIS to learning how to draw cuboid TARDISes by my kindly-hearted teaching assistant at primary school. Frankly, I drift in through wondering where the hell I'd be. I drift in thought, wondering where the hell I'd be today if not for Doctor Who. Coming to screens in 2005. I simply wouldn't be the person I am today. I wouldn't be typing this, or perhaps still not speaking. As so much my childhood, I needed a speech and therapist to find my voice. I'm forever thankful to this era, to Christopher Eccleston, to Billie Piper, to Rusty Davis, to the whole cast and crew for bringing this show back. But honestly, a perfect pilot episode that, 20 years on, feels so relevant to the extraordinary people that feel crushed under a lot of misery today. Doctor Who, 20 years on, represents hope, a light in the darkness, a universe that revolves and spins around the people who dare to dream, dare to be themselves. I felt this sentimental as a misunderstood 6-year-old, and although diminished in the 20 years, I still feel the sentiment today as a fairly confident 26-year-old typing out this ode to a show I'll love forever. Two hearts. Let's keep being fantastic and run into what the future holds.
Yay.
Thank you, Thomas.
Oh, those are
Thank
all
you, as
great
always.
responses. Yeah.
Yeah. I always get excited when we have a response from Thomas. You know, I always get a bit. Oh yeah. Okay. And lastly,
Not
another friend of the
lastly.
show.
There is still more.
Oh, okay.
Not
Well,
lastly in the emails.
Lastly, from the emails, we have one here from Catherine Wheeler, friend of the show. Everyone's favorite Master Stan. Hey, gang. Thoughts. I do have them occasionally. Rose, an episode I can't remember seeing live, but I can imagine the sheer distilled joy of being a fan watching Doctor Who back on the telly after so many years. The whole thing glows, and I mean literally. There's the early 2000s shrine to the whole episode. It's the color of old LED streetlights on a late walk home, or how Christmas looked when you were little. Rose exists under its own blanket of warm nostalgia, and no matter how hard you look for its faults, you just can't commit to caring about them. When you look at the components of an episode individually, Rose is the bizarre episode to open a brand new era of Doctor Who. Autons, loud, brash 2000s London in all its scruff glory. No alien planet. It's twee, it's camp. It makes you beg your non-Whovian friends to just keep watching. But the plot doesn't actually matter. It doesn't. Rose's job is to make you fall in love with an alien and follow him through space, and it does that spectacularly. I'll never find a gateway drug quite like it. Cat.
Wonderful stuff. Thank you, Kat.
Stuff. Brilliant. You say we have more stuff?
If you go to the Time Siren Productions Discord.
Somewhere that everyone should join because it's always a good time.
If you scroll up, you should see Tilly has.
I see. Yes, our friend Tilly, our fantastic Fourth Doctor impressionist, has sent in a lovely little note here as well. Thank you, Tilly. We do love you. And now the opinions you asked for from everyone's favorite, debatably annoying gremlin. Rose is an episode it took me a while. Rose is an episode that took a while for me to get around to seeing because I watched RT1 out of order for numerous reasons that are beyond the scope of the podcast, and also because it's not all that interesting. I'm sure it's very interesting, Tilly. I'd love to hear why. Certainly when I was watching Classico, I watched it sporadically. I dipped in and out, still do now. But Rose is an episode it took a while. Oh, sorry, I'm in the wrong bit now. God damn it. I think it's great. It's a wonderful reintroduction to Doctor Who. Everything you could want is here: an interesting companion, an enigmatic and wonderful doctor, a bold new take on the series and its tropes, and just a good solid story. Don't really have much more to say here other than I hope you have a nice day and watch out for the Spaghetti Man. Tilly. What's the Spaghetti Man?
I don't know, but the only response we've had is Thomas sending a picture of an axle.
Thank you, everyone, for your emails and messages and everything. And also, thank you to those people that can't read a tweet.
We appreciate all comments and
Yes.
having thoughts and opinions, especially from those who were not born yet. Just to date us even more.
Let's get the Cannon Buster. So, the Cannon Buster. For anyone that hasn't listened before, Cannon Buster is my little ode to our friend Davis with his series Broke Canon, where I basically introduce something in the Doctor Who canon, bit strange, bit weird, so that we have to accept as being canon. So, first things first. I've kind of got two on this one, Robin. Okay. Okay. First one is, who's your favorite late night talk show host? UK based.
You?
No, what? What?
You put me on the spot there. We've talked about Touchwood before.
No, the answer was Graham Norton. Well done, Robin. Yes, Graham Norton is your favourite. Yes. Graham Norton has a unexpected sort of long history with Doctor Who. Obviously, principally so in the original broadcast of Rose, there was an error in that the Strictly Dance Fever, which was being hosted by Graham Norton, part of its audio seeped into the broadcast and during that scene of Rose down in the basement of the shop, you can hear Graham Norton in different parts of it, and obviously he has later appearances as well, which aren't great. But the first thing I wanted to tell you, Robin, is that in the target novelization of the episode, which I wanted to read before this, but didn't get the chance to because it's something I wanted to read for a long time, it's actually canonized.
What?
Yeah, because for some reason it's playing through speakers down the basement, and so Russell took the opportunity to be like, "Oh yeah, no, it actually happened. It was part of the episode."
Oh, that's
Which
a
is
good
very
move.
funny, isn't it?
That's a very tongue-in-cheek move. I like that.
The second one I wanted to talk about is in the novelization. Is a really lovely bit in the scene where Rose is with Clive in his shed.
Oh, I figured this might be it.
Yeah, in that it shows not just other doctors that we know, but the idea of future doctors, and probably the most prominent one, which is there. And if people pick up the novelization's illustrated edition, you'll see as well that there's a doctor who's using a wheelchair with sort of purple hair and glasses, canine next to them, and it just goes to show anyone can be the doctor. I think is beautiful, and I think that's a wonderful sentiment to have between that and between having actors like Joe Martin, Jodie Whittaker, and Ncuti as well. It's like anyone can be the Doctor, and that's truly fantastic. And to quote another Series 1 episode, or another Season 1 episode, I should say, nobody grows up wrong.
Great. Absolutely great. And those are some really lovely mentions as well. Good note to end off.
Yeah, good note. Well, look, this has been our first episode covering a New Who story that's us reviewing it, but not like a new episode coming out. So this is, what better way to celebrate the New Who format, the New Who celebration, than adding a new episode to our backlog of, formats and episodes, what have you. Batters and Fandom is gathering dust. It started a formal dimension in Daleks, but we got a new thing we can do,
I've really enjoyed this, and those listening, if there's any episodes that you'd love us to go back to and revisit for any reason or another, please do. We'd love to hear from you.
It's very cool to now take, these episodes and sort of do a bit more of a deep dive on them, considering we've been doing our retrospectives sort of sporadically. It's nice to think, we could do a whole episode on Midnight or Orphan 55. The best episodes of Doctor Who.
See, I feel like I need to at some point get us to do dinosaurs on a spaceship. Go back to that mention of an episode and just be like,
Hey,
come
I
on.
don't mind. I
give
like
its
it
due
now. I like
justice.
dinosaurs on
Yeah,
a spaceship. No, it's great.
I
It's
changed
great.
your mind. Yep.
Yeah, it's great.
There we
It's dinosaurs
go.
on a spaceship. It's every kid's dream.
Yeah,
It's fantastic.
and you
It's
were
like- it's
so
like-
against it.
It's like, right, look, okay. I'm so against now. We're going way off tangent, but it's kind of like, to reference Friends, I know, which is not everyone likes now. It's like Joey eating the weird trifle. It's like, it's got dinosaurs, good. Spaceship, good.
Good.
Robot, good.
Good.
But yeah.
Oh,
Anyway,
so good.
well, thank you both for being with me here. Thank you for everyone for being with us to celebrate what is 20 years of Doctor Who being back on our screens. Here's to Rose. Here's to Christopher Eccleston, to Billie Piper, and the whole team behind it as well. Here's to Rusty Davis. I've been Jack.
I have been Robin.
I have been invading the space yet again.
You hold the space. We hold space for you always. We do stuff.
Oh, you're pretty wicked too.
Hey. Can I just say, everyone, this has been an awful lot of running. Run for your lives!